Welcome to the Great Game Debate podcast. I will be your host, Jonah Gomez. This is the show where friends come together to respectfully debate games and, talk about them. Today we have Mateo. How are you doing, sir?
Doing all right, dude. It's hot. That's the update from Texas. It's hot here, y'all.
Bro, I feel that for sure. It's been really hot up in the Portland, Vancouver area up here, so I get that. And we also have Steven. How are you, sir?
Very good. Much more drizzly and rainy down here in Australia at the moment.
I miss the drizzly and rain out here.
I do not.
If you are wondering why I am hosting today, it is because Caden had a baby. Congratulations, sir! Woo!
The ultimate assist trophy.
The ultimate assist trophy. And this week, we have a special guest returning from the Draft Punks. Brian Keese, how are you, sir?
Hey, I thought this was the show where we ranked ninjas, so I'm very confused about what's going on here.
No, this is the OG show, and if you're wondering why Brian's talking about ranking ninjas, thank you for the segue, by the way.
You're welcome.
We have a new show starting pretty soon. It'll be a once-a-month show called The Great Game Debate Gaiden, and that'll be Wes Bates returning to host that show with Hunter Pearson, Zach Pearson, and Brad Russell. If you look at the Discord or Twitter, you've probably seen the intro, and we've got the trailer episode up. But their first top 10 ranking that they'll be doing is ninjas, which really fits the Gaiden name.
Make sure you come get your votes in if you haven't done so yet. Put Batman at the number one spot.
On our first one.
Oh, it is closed.
I was going to make a last-minute pitch for Chop Chop Master Onion. Technically not even a ninja, but I just love that he made the list.
So. The votes are closed, and I have seen the list, and there are some surprises on there. So I'm really excited to have everyone view that list, and I've seen some of the behind-the-scenes stuff, and it's pretty sick.
My over-under is Hunter seems like a Ninja Gaiden pronunciation person.
He very much is a Ninja Gaiden pronunciation guy. And with that, we'll move on to the icebreaker. I hope you guys wished for your straight block to get that Tetris, because it's time for the icebreaker. Now, we definitely forgot to pick an icebreaker question, so while I look up that, Brian, what's new with the Draft Punks?
Not too much, really. We've kind of taken a break from hosting. We've had a lot of stuff going on this summer. We got to have one of our representatives, Preston Wilkie, went to PAX East with a media badge and did some interviews and did a lot of content for our YouTube channel. It was a lot of fun. And we'll be headed to PAX West this fall to meet up with some of the GGD crew. So we're really excited about that.
Sir.
And hopefully that'll get our content wheel kind of rolling again. We just had a lot of stuff going on this summer. I have a 21-month-old at home. So Caden, if you need any tips on what not to do, just ask. And we're also getting ready to move. So we actually spent a lot of today packing up boxes and stuff. So it's been a busy summer, but looking forward to the fall and getting back into it.
Just do the Big Daddy. You just place out all of the newspaper all over the room, and you're sorted for a few weeks.
All right, I got
the code to get Adam Sandler in NBA Jam, right? Isn't that what I heard last episode?
All right,
Jonah, are you able to confirm? Did Caden's already has his son playing Dark Souls 1, right?
He's already beaten it, actually.
Yeah. He's already on to Sekiro.
Yeah, so he's beaten it. He he actually took the disc out of the Xbox for Dark Souls through and snapped it with his little baby hands. He said 3 was like a fine aged wine, and yeah, he's on Sekiro right now. He's struggling a bit, but I mean, it's Cadence Kid. He's gonna pursue.
Yeah.
Okay, we got our icebreaker question coming in from Costco on the Discord. When it comes to games, do you prefer the more realistic games that have the high realism graphics, like Detroit or GTA, or do you prefer less realistic games and more pixelated graphics, games like Terraria, Super Mario, Sonic, or Minecraft, and why? Ryan, I think I'm going to toss it over to you as our guest.
Ooh, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate both. I think both have their place. I think with the high realism graphics, or what we accept as high realism now, it ages a little bit better than like that PS2 era
High
where we
realism.
when we were like, oh man,
Hands like this.
games are never gonna look better than this. And now if you look at it, it's like your dog threw up on the screen. So I think 3D, some of the older stuff has aged worse, and I think that's the benefit of the sort of pixel graphic, is that it tends to age better overall. Like you can still go back and play like Super Mario World on Super Nintendo. Still looks great.
Yeah.
All these years later. So
Mateo, what about
You know, man, I would like to say that like the hyper realistic stuff is like my jam, but like I'm looking through my Steam like recent plays, and I've got like BattleBit, I've got Vampire Survivors, I've got FTO in there. Like obviously, I guess graphics don't actually matter to me. The pixelated stuff is just fine.
Yeah.
As Brian said, it ages so well, like especially
Yeah.
the new pixel graphics that we have. Like they're just incredibly well done. There's lots of layers to the visuals. It aids it a little bit,
Yeah,
honestly.
For sure. And Steven, I think I could probably guess yours, but let's hear it.
Well, it's funny because like when I think about, like, I still think definitely Last of Us Part 2 has probably the most insane cutscenes like
Yeah.
ever. Like, you know, veins in the arms and stuff like that, and taking shirts off, just stuff that just seems absolutely hellish to code. But who knows what it'll look like in 20 years to us, like when we're seeing the most ridiculous stuff. But Carl Bosman calls like the PS1 era crunchy, and I really I have a soft spot for that. Like I prefer Spyro 1 to Spyro Reignited, like graphics. Like there's something when I played the Ratchet and Clank reboot make whatever on the PS4, you could tell it's a PS2 game with gorgeous visuals because you'd go into a corner and there'd be nothing there. But they've animated the background so well that you're like, oh, there's going to be a cool secret around here. It's like, oh no, it's just an edge. Like, you know,
It's just an edge.
like, yeah. So, so for me, like, I don't know. For me, that was when I started playing, was like primitive 3D models was when I was really starting to play video games. And it's just my comfort food. Like I can watch Tony Hawk 2 with its, you know, blocky, you know, graphics and be like, that's my kind of jank, you know?
Yeah.
Wait. So your answer is a secret third thing. You don't need the hyper realistic. You don't want the pixels. You want
I want the in between, the
Actively
mess.
bad,
I like the
bad.
mess,
I like
you
the
know?
nuance, yeah.
I like the mess, you know, because there's something to like. The good comes out so much more.
He likes the hyper
yeah.
realistic 20 years ago.
Exactly. Yeah.
He's the retro realistic guy. That's what we'll call him.
Yeah.
What about you, Jonah?
Honestly, it's hard because I'm like in the same boat as Mateo, where it's like a lot of the things that I've been playing have been kind of like the pixelated style, like BattleBit with like the Roblox style. That being said, it's hard to like high fidelity games nowadays because 8 out of 10 times it's, you know, broken. The games are usually come out broken. So I'm not like the biggest like pixel art guy. I do like have a couple pixel art games that I'm like super excited for, like Sea of Stars. That game looks incredible. I'm really excited for it. I think I might be with Steven on this one, actually. The hyper realistic from 20 years ago.
It's funny 'cause that's exactly the genre like I hate. Like when you talk about, like I can't stand Minecraft. I totally understand the influence it's had on video gaming. I get the importance, the cultural impact. Can't stand to look at it.
Yeah.
It
Yeah,
just
no, for
makes
sure.
I'm not the biggest fan of voxels myself. Like,
Yeah.
I know that a lot of people say that 3D dot game heroes is a really cool Zelda like, but I just don't like the look of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think we should all put our hands up and say, how about hand drawn animation?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, all day.
Yeah.
Like give me more Hades. I think my sweet spot is I know this is gonna be funny, but I think Fortnite has like captured like the perfect timeless art style.
Yeah.
You know?
It feels like what people's memory of their favorite PS2 game is, with it being 10,000 times better looking. Like, you know.
Yeah, no, for
I think
sure.
that's a great way to put it, Steven.
Yeah.
I can dig that because it's kind of like the Blizzard art style, right? Like even back in the day, they had some gorgeous cutscenes, but it's because they had this not quite realistic, goofy, cartoony Pixar art going on, you know?
Yeah, WoW definitely. Fortnite definitely looks like WoW in a slightly more realistic way. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. What are some other games that you would like put in that same tier as Fortnite? Would you just consider like a lot of like cell shaded games to be that too?
It's
Oh,
interesting
maybe.
because it looks more bubbly, like you're playing with figurines. Like Fortnite just is in its own space. It's like you could think of it as more like maybe like Smash Melee or something has it almost, you know, because you feel like you're playing with toys.
Mhm.
I guess like any Army Men game is like.
Oh,
Fortnite.
dude, those were really rad. Have you guys seen that new like first person shooter?
The Hyperbox.
Yes,
one?
Hyperbox looks so cool.
Hyperbox it's pretty decent. It's not great, but
Oh,
it's
okay.
all right.
Like, just
every
the
video I
jet-
see,
the-
it looks really good.
The initial conceit of like breaking out of your toy box is awesome, and like, you know, shout out to Small Soldiers. That was a good movie. When
Oh,
we were
yeah.
kids.
Great movie.
All right. Well, with that, I think the ice has been broken, and we'll move on to the debate. We got an arcadey freaking debate today. We have Brian representing Tetris versus Mateo representing Vampire Survivors.
Woo.
Kind of like the classic versus the new when it comes to these arcadey games. We also have Steven as our on-the-fly assist trophy today. Brian, as our guest, would you like to start or close the debate?
I think I'm gonna start. I want to clarify here that because this might seem like an odd matchup to people, that the reason we picked these games is because they
That
were
is true.
developed by a single person, right?
There we go.
Yeah.
I was
because
gonna
they're
I was gonna
arcadey.
message Jonah because
We're winging the show. We're winging the show this week, guys. We're a little lost. I'm a little lost without Caden. Yeah, so we're doing a single dev debate this week with Brian representing Tetris versus Mateo doing Vampire Survivors. But I mean, I am right. It is kind of like an arcadey debate. With 2 minutes on the clock, Brian, are you ready to go?
I am.
All right. 3, 2, 1, debate.
Let me just start, gentlemen, by saying thank you for allowing me to be here today. I really appreciate you all giving me your time. Today we're talking about the best video game of all time developed by a single person. And originally, when I pitched this idea to Jonah, I was going to do best puzzle game. But that just seemed like it would be too difficult to come up with something to put against Tetris. So, because it is such an important game in the history of puzzle genre. So I'm going to try to talk about historically and culturally why this game is so important. and we'll share some relevant stats too about the continuing success of the franchise. I'm going to try not to harp on that too much because I am attempting to talk about the original game here. So just a real quick history of Tetris here. It was developed in 1985, almost 50 years ago, by Alexei Pajitnov. That's a combination of tetra for 4 and tennis, his favorite sport, which doesn't really make sense. There's no tennis in it. But the game was so popular it spread to nearly every workstation in Russia at the time, to the point some businesses actually had to create a new program to stop it because worker productivity had slowed down so considerably. There was a whole bunch of complicated contractual issues getting it out of Russia, but eventually the right to publish goes to Nintendo. They have it until 96 when Alexei and Hank Rogers formed the Tetris company. Now,
30 seconds.
Did this game cause the downfall of communism and the collapse of the Soviet Union? I mean, if you watch the wonderful 2023 film Tetris starring the very handsome Taron Egerton, as I did this morning, you might walk away thinking that. Does that make it the most important game of all time? Probably, yeah. And therefore the best game created by a single developer? I would say so. I yield the rest of my time.
Awesome.
Hold
Wow.
up, let me get the notes down. Did not defeat communism.
There's a line in the film where they say, you know, this is the end of communism.
All right, Mateo. Will Vampire Survivors defeat communism? We will find out in this opening statement. Mateo, you've got 2 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1, debate.
I am so happy about the introduction to Tetris because it matches up completely with how I was thinking about this in my mind. Tetris is like it's like sitting down for a nice candlelit dinner. It's classy. You're drinking wine. Vampire Survivors is like just snorting a bunch of pixie sticks and like downing a bunch of whiskey and then just wandering out into the night to see what happens. Vampire Survivors is, for me, it is the feeling of being in a Vegas casino for 12 hours. Your eyes are fried, your brain is dead, your fingers keep moving though. You keep hitting that spin one more time. That is Vampire Survivors. It is the quintessential one more run game for me. I have lost so much of my life playing Vampire Survivors. It's for people that don't know, it's almost like a twin stick shooter, except for smooth brain dummy boys like me. They basically decided, they were like, you know what, that second stick is too much to deal with. What if you just move? What if you just move and you just attack automatically? It is, I would almost say it's a puzzle game. A lot of it becomes this game of managing space around you. You get these weapons. All the weapons have different attack formats. So you figure out the pattern that you're clearing around you on every refresh cycle. And it's this puzzle game of trying to figure out, where should my placement be? Where should I be moving my character to? It is also
30
completely
seconds.
broken sometimes. It is just this becomes this point in the game where you can't tell what the hell is going on. Things are just exploding. The screen is just filled with psychedelic colors, and then you accidentally wander into a chest. The chest explodes into this slot machine of rolling numbers and flashing colors. It is, I think it matches up well with Tetris, but I also think they are almost the exact opposite approach to trying to create this kind of puzzle game.
Very nice. All right, let's get moving on to round 2. I didn't get my question answered if it was the cure to communism, but maybe Brian has the answer with Tetris. Brian, you've got 2 minutes on the clock for your rebuttal. 3, 2, 1, debate.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you want more than that? So I do love Vampire Survivors. It's a great bullet heaven, opposite of bullet hell game. I love it. Don't get me wrong. I have it on my phone. I actually tried to play it on the airplane on the way home from vacation last week. Wouldn't load. Turns out you got to be online to play Vampire Survivors. Is that a strike against it? I don't know. You guys tell me. I mean, but in a bigger sense, I feel like this pick does have some recency bias in it. We talked about old versus new, and that's true. But I feel like if we'd done this 2 years ago or 2 years from now, I don't know that, Vampire Survivors is on our mind 2 years from now. I feel like you're going to go back to a Minecraft or an Undertale or a Stardew Valley. Those feel like they have more staying power to me overall than Vampire Survivors. My other big issue is that gameplay loop. While I agree it's really, really satisfying when it's working, I feel like there's a lot of times where I get so overpowered or so underpowered that it feels kind of like, oh, I'm just going to sit here for the next 5 minutes because I don't need to do anything. Or like I have no chance to get out of this. I'm going to have to abandon this run and start over. With Tetris, it feels like there's just constantly something happening. You talked about that loop of just one more run. With Tetris, it is pretty nonstop to the point where we have this phenomenon that scientists came up with called the Tetris effect, which later got its own video game
30 seconds.
Much later on, because as people were playing this game so much, they would turn the machine off and they would still see those falling blocks in their dreams. And I haven't heard about Vampire Survivor effect, I have to say. I yield the rest of my time.
All right. Leaving 15
I think the
seconds
Vampire
on the
Survivor
table.
effect is just called epilepsy, just to toss that out.
Yeah.
You just turn off your system and you're just seizing. All right. Mateo, let's get into your rebuttal. You got 2 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1, pitch.
Okay, so
Debate. Sorry, not pitch.
That's fair. I do love Tetris. I do need to toss that out there. I do love Tetris, especially the Tetris effect. It's dropped that one specifically. But if we're talking original Tetris, let's get into the music, because every single track in Vampire Survivors is a banger. And while that original Tetris song is really good and really catchy, it's not, you get bored of it eventually. Vampire Survivors lets you pick music. You can mix and match tracks. Every single track is amazing. It's like I get vibes of like Sonic the Hedgehog, but if like the producer was like just on a like mid Sugar Rush when he was writing it, like he just kept getting distracted and just kept going in different directions. Let's talk about the challenges that are in Vampire Survivor. I feel like they actually aid the that one more run feeling, because you have actual goals you're going towards. You're trying to survive 30 minutes with a specific character. You're trying to unlock different items and things like that. I think it adds a lot to the longevity of the game. But I really need to get into my biggest complaint with Tetris, because I do have a complaint with Tetris. Did you know that on the internet a few years back, there was this thing going around, and apparently the Tetris blocks have names? The orange L-shaped block is Orange Ricky, obviously. The blue L-shaped was Blue Ricky. The Z's, depending on which way they went, they were either the Cleveland Z or the Rhode Island Z. The big long block, that's Hero, obviously. Tiwi is that weird little like Space Invader shaped one. And then the big square guy he's called Smashboy, right? Here's the problem with that. It's all wrong. It's all a lie. It was just a meme that bled into public consciousness. They're actually just called Tetraminos. And that is a sadder world that we live in, where my favorite block is not called Smashboy, and we don't have a block called the Cleveland Z. I yield my time.
I can't help it if you fell for a meme on the internet, but that's not my fault.
All right, we're going into round 3, the final round. Gentlemen, you both still have your assist trophies. I guess I'll ask you both now. Would you like to start or close your final round with Steven, or not use them at all?
I
Close
will.
with Steven.
I will also close with Steven
All
if
right.
I have time remaining. Yeah.
Oh, he's an additional 30 seconds. He does not take
Oh, beautiful.
He does not take
Beautiful.
from your time. All right. I will count you down as soon as Brian's debate is up. Steven, it is your time to shine, and that'll go for Mateo's as well. Brian, you have 2 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1, debate.
All right, so here's the thing. The music in Vampire Survivors might be fantastic. You know what? Never heard a single track of it, because this is a podcast game. It's not a listen to the music game, especially on my phone. I got the AirPods in, and I'm just immediately dialed into the Great Game Debate. So I've never heard a single track from Vampire Survivors. And
Sponsored podcast.
As I mentioned earlier, Tetris, invented in 1985, still relevant today, 50 years later. I don't think we're talking about Vampire Survivors 50 years from now. You have, Tetris Effect and Tetris 99, both in just the last 5 years, just piercing through the veil of all of this media we have to just reach their own audience. And they're doing very little to iterate on, what the original game is, because it still holds up. When Hank Rogers, I'm taking these numbers, to be clear, from the Apple 2023 film Tetris. When he pitched this to the Russians to get the licensing deal, he said, conservative estimates, we might sell 1 million units on Game Boy. I think we can sell 20. They sold 35 million units on Game Boy. They have sold 500 million units of Tetris games since 1985. The second highest game, Minecraft, less than half of that. Less than half.
Wow.
All right. At the start of this episode, we talked about this idea of 2D pixel graphics versus hyper-realistic graphics. Let me tell you, I love 2D pixel graphics, unless they're bad. And I'm sorry, but in Vampire Survivors, they're bad. There's mobile knockoff games that do the same thing that look more aesthetically pleasing than Vampire Survivors does. Steven, take it home for me, buddy.
All right, Steven.
Tetris is the most eponymous game with non-gamers. You may think it's Mario, but think about this. What do you say whenever you're going on holiday and you've got to pack your car? Oh man, it was
15
crazy. We
seconds.
had to do full-on Tetris to get it all in there. Like, Tetris is a verb. And that is how big and important Tetris is. And that's why it's the greatest puzzle game of all time.
Wow, that's...
We're doing single dev game here, Steven.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's
But he called Vampire Survivors a puzzle game, so I think it applies.
All right, Mateo, you got 2 minutes on the clock. Steven, you will be following immediately afterwards. 3, 2, 1, debate.
So I think that we are taking a little away from Vampire Survivors because it is obviously too early to tell just kind of what impact it's going to have. But I can tell you, if we're just looking at Steam games, the pretenders are here. The imitators are here in large numbers. I get the feeling this new genre that they've created, whatever it's called, the Survivor game, I guess. I think that it's going to be a big thing. As far as how much staying power it has, I don't know. I do think that it is a little bit of this case of old versus new for sure, right? As I said, Vampire Survivors is for smooth-brained dummy boys. But I don't know if y'all have seen this recently with this NPC trend on TikTok. We are a nation of smooth-brained dummy boys.
Oh no!
This is the exact kind of popcorn,
ice cream,
flashy
good.
light nonsense that we need in the year of our Lord 2023. So, what game to better represent the here and now than Vampire Survivors? A game that is pure candy. A game that leaves you feeling a little lesser once you finish a run, honestly. We're all just chasing that feeling from that first run, that first successful run, and failing. And there's something about that Sisyphean task of trying to get that same level of high, that same level of enjoyment each run, that I think is kind of fitting for the year 2023.
You got 30 seconds.
I do agree that this is a podcast game, but I actually take that as a positive thing. I love the cozy game genre. I love the I'd have a podcast on, I have a movie on genre where I can just zone out, play my game, absorb extra information. I love the combination of that. I will tell you, I cannot say in good conscience that Vampire Survivor will defeat communism, but I think that it might just defeat capitalism. Who's to say?
All right,
Well,
Steven, go.
I was going to say, embrace capitalism. Pull that lever. Let's open that box. And that's one thing you have to have the sound on for to get the full effect. When those 3 lights shine, and then you get the 6 going, and it's like, dun, 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 and you get, oh my god, fireworks going. That, oh my god, talk about chasing the dragon. That is an absolute banger hit.
Time.
Also, garlic solos.
I wrote down when I wrote my argument about how the game can be too easy sometimes. It's like if you just play with Poe, just have the garlic from the beginning. Like, you don't even need to pay attention for 10 minutes.
All right, Steven, as our assist trophy, what is your vote, man? What are your thoughts?
Man, that's tough.
This is a very tough debate. This is
yeah. It definitely man. It appeals to my baser nature, Vampire Survivors, and I looked at that when I saw Jonah first playing it, and he was explaining it like it's like balloons, like it's like switch your brain off, tower defense, like kind of in a sense. But it's it's a dungeon crawler, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna like that. And then once you do get that little hit, that dopamine rush,
you
so
open your
good.
first chest and you're like, oh.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah, when you get a crit chest, like a rare chest, it's just like, oh, and you see like 2 purples, and you're like, oh no, it's all over for me. But man, bringing up how bad the pixel art is subpar, and it is, and I personally as well don't listen to the music, but I do usually keep the sound on in the background while I'm listening to a podcast because I just need that like chest opening sound.
I love that the chest the chest music is under sound effects and not music, because you can't just turn off the music. It's brilliant.
Oh man, that's so tough. Like, how do I vote against Tetris? It's kind of
good
like
question.
I mean,
impossible to vote
you
against
just
it.
gotta go with what you're feeling, man.
Yeah, both really, really good arguments. I'm appealing to like, a higher level and gonna vote with Tetris.
All right. Oh man, Steven is 1000% correct that like this is a very hard one to vote for, because I mean, Brian plugged the show in his debate. He said he was listening. I mean,
yeah, Mateo doesn't listen to the show.
Part of the debate is knowing your audience.
Yeah, and that's an easy way to get a vote. But that being said, Mateo did bring some heat. He did bring up some points, and while I know this wasn't part of the debate, but Brian, if you watch that No Clip documentary that they just did for Vampire Survivors, you'll know that the art style was chosen on purpose. He wanted it to look bad.
Oh.
Oh man,
That's a poor choice.
If you want some really good disgusting, go play Case of the Golden Idol.
there
That's
you
the
go.
good kind of gross.
That's got some jank.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Vampire Survivors on this one, just because while like setting up the blocks perfectly and just nailing a Tetris like multiple times in a row feels so good, I think you get way more of that dopamine itch from Vampire Survivors when you do get that good build, when you do get a chest, like you finally kill that boss, or like you hit that 30 seconds and you've got multiple lives, so it's like boom, I died, I'm gonna run around for a few minutes, get some more XP, get some more gold, boom, die again, do it all over again, and now you've got like this nice build, but you've got all this bonus money that you can spend on more abilities that last longer.
But yeah, that is actually funny because on the flip side, the subtext of what Brian was saying was about the fact that if you have a bad build, you're just dead. Whereas that's the best part of watching an amazing Tetris player is like when they're playing, like, say, Tetris Attack or something, and they get a whole bunch of garbage, and them fighting back from the brink when they're at the top of the screen and they fight back down to the bottom of the screen, like that. I'm not playing and I'm watching some amazing level player and I'm just like, that is such a dopamine rush. Like that is amazing to be that close to death, and just like everyone knows that Street Fighter 4 or Street Fighter Third Strike or whatever, when it goes from like 1 HP and just like perfect parries like the whole time. That's like that Tetris feeling, you know?
Yeah, my vote is definitely going for Vampire Survivors on this one.
That's fair. That's fair.
Contestants,
I did
what are
want to
your- what are
share
your
with you
thoughts?
guys. Oh, sorry.
No.
I wanted to share one more thing just to show how like 1 in a billion this idea was. The Alexei Pajitnov, who developed Tetris, developed 3 follow-up games that I guarantee you have never heard of. They all end in tris.
Really?
The first one is called Well Tris, and
Played
it
it.
involves filling 4 separate wells, and if your blocks end up somehow outside of the well, it blocks it off. If they all get blocked off, then you lose. The second one is called Hatris, and it is falling hats, not hats the shape in geometry, actual hats.
Hats.
And you have to group like hats to get them to disappear. The third one, which is the 4th game in the series, which is important. The 4th game in the series is called Face ... Tris 3. And it involved lining up faces of famous people in a row in order to get them to disappear. But it's called Face ellipses Tris 3. So, you know, broken clocks, I guess. He had this one fantastic idea, and then the follow-ups were a little rough. But
I have a hot take that pretty much every Tetris clone just doesn't come anywhere near. Like, whereas
Yeah.
I feel like a Vampire Survivors clone could do something, good with it,
mhm.
That's fair. I could see that.
Tetris Effect to me is a perfect video game. We're talking about the original Tetris for purposes of this, but we talk about how good the music is in Vampire Survivors. The music in Tetris Effect is so good.
The only reason why I could trash on the Tetris music is because we
Yeah.
were considering only the original
Yeah.
game.
Yeah.
All right.
I think Mateo did a great job. By
Yeah.
the way, I think he made
You-
very compelling arguments.
You both did a fantastic job.
This is a good one.
This is gonna
This is a good
go
one.
on the wiki page as one of the best debates that we've ever had. The imaginary wiki page.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
And with that, we'll go into our last week's debate, which we had Jared representing top down versus Steven representing side scrollers. Winning with a whopping 2 points
Oh no.
was top down. I'm sorry, Steven.
RPG
Dang.
scrubs. Play it, Zelda.
Congratulations, Jared.
Yes.
Props on that one, Steven. That was such a wide ranging debate as far as the things to talk about. That was a tough one.
I honestly, I think what sealed the deal for Jared is that you wouldn't expand outside of Metroidvanias. I think if you brought in fighting games,
I literally thought it was unfair to do so. I thought it was way unfair. Like, if I had added those to my Metacritic scores, like all the Street Fighter games and, Mortal Kombat games and Arc System Works games,
then maybe you would have won.
maybe.
Maybe. It's just a tool for the battle, man.
I took part in this vote. I went with the top-down games. I want to be clear. Jonah said winning with 2 points. He won by 2 points. There were more than 2 votes cast.
Thank you.
For me, it's the greatest game. My original pitch to Jonah was I wanted to do something around Link to the Past being the greatest game of all time, because it is.
Ooh.
And that is a top-down game. So that was the sole reason he got my vote, especially because you used the little Link emoji to represent it. So I had to.
I'm sure people have that are making memes and stuff, but actually a top-down game where you can only see
The top of the
person's
head.
hat.
Yeah. Well, Jared brought up 12 Minutes, which in my opinion was not a great game to start his
Yeah,
argument.
I know. That
Yeah,
was
I was
like
like-
a wild pick.
That is a
like
top-down
that.
game.
Yeah.
You do only see the
I
top
had
of their heads.
forgotten that game existed, honestly.
Yeah.
That was like the first game ever that we got a preview code for,
Oh.
and oh man, we're like, it's the first time we've ever gotten one of these. We don't want to like ruin all of our relationships at once.
Yeah.
But that was rough.
Shout out to Willem Dafoe, but
You know what? He's
otherwise-
going for deep cuts, trying to diversify his debate. It's okay. He won. And with that, we'll move on to the pitch. All right, we're back for another round of the pitch. I know I kind of teased it a little bit in the debate there because I'm a freaking smooth brain dummy. But now it's actually time to pitch some games. Mateo will be stepping up to the pitcher's mound first. Mateo, you got 2 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1, pitch your game.
I will start off by saying I don't know if I'm going to use the 2 minutes because this game took me about 20 minutes to run through. So it's a quick game for if that's a good thing for you if you like quick games. It's a side-scrolling platformer. Some things it does really well. Some things are kind of just a derivative of other platforming games you found. But if you do like voice actors, this game does star Nolan North. It released in the last couple of weeks. It's a pretty new game. I think it probably has flown under the radar of a lot of people.
Yeah. Sure.
It's an interesting one. It kind of dives into this idea of like game development itself. There's a lot of aspects in there where you can kind of get like a look behind the curtains of game development. I think that's kind of fun. It's free, so that's another bonus for it. I actually just kind of came across this one randomly, and I just blew through it like immediately. Like it's good enough to hook you. It's definitely understands its market. Like it is not intended to be like a money making resource or anything. You're not making a 20-minute game because you think you're going to change like genres or anything. But if you're looking for like a delightful way to kill 20 minutes, you're waiting on a meeting to start at work or something, I would recommend giving this game a try. And that might honestly be all that I have to say about it. The controls are pretty snappy, but like it's a side-scrolling platforming game. You're going to jump on boxes. You're going to climb stuff. Seconds. You're going to jump over pits. I'll yield my time.
All right, leaving 25 seconds on the table.
First of all, we have to ask, like, so Nolan North is voicing a 20-minute game, so he has, like, what, 4 lines of dialogue? Like,
he is actually the main person talking throughout the game. Like, it's a significant amount of voice work from him. I don't know how this game came to be, honestly.
Wow. That's wild. Oh, and you also said it's like a little bit meta, like it. So, yeah, that always intrigues me. And 20 minutes, yeah, hell yeah.
Are you in?
Yeah, I'm in.
Okay.
No, hell yeah means no in Australia because we're upside down. What the fuck are you talking about?
Brian, how are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm in too. I spent the entire time trying to figure out what this could possibly be, and I don't think I've heard of it. But the mention of it getting a little bit of meta in there started making me think like Stanley Parable, those kinds of quick games where it gets a little meta. And I love those kinds of experiences. So 20 minutes, maybe a little bit shorter than it takes to run through that a few times, but it's enough for one run in the Stanley Parable. So I'd take one run at whatever this game is.
I mean, it's free. I haven't really heard Nolan North in a minute. He's kind of fallen off since it's like Destiny, I guess. Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll check it out. What have we downloaded, Mateo?
The game is called Try Again, and I just randomly came across it on Steam. I think it might even be like someone's like final design project for like a game development course or something. It's a weird one. I honestly need to look into more of how this game came to be because it's just this weird 20-minute game with Nolan North is the voice actor. I don't know if the other voice actor is Stephanie Kerbis. Is she a known actress that I am not aware of? Because that is the only other person in this game that's part of it that I as far as like any voice acting. It's a really weird one. I came across it. It's seriously like a 20-minute game. It gets a little meta. Like you are playing as a test character that is aware that he's inside a video game, and his promise is that he's going to make it to the full final design. And this is the developer running one last test before they redesign the character completely and trash him. So he's trying to escape from the game so he can make it to the next build.
Wow, that's very sad. That is so sad. All right, well, it looks like everyone's downloading this game. Brian, it is time for you to step up to the pitcher's mound, my friend. You've got 2 minutes on the clock. 3, 2, 1, pitch your game.
So my game is not quite as short as Mateo's, but my pitch might be because This is a game I've played for a total of about 20 minutes and has not released yet, but I'm very excited about it. I got to play this game almost a year ago at PAX West, and it releases in 4 days. And I think my own Discord is tired of hearing me talk about it, so I'm glad I get somewhere else to hype it up. We have any Final Fantasy Tactics fans in the chat today? Oh, Mateo, my guy. Have I got a game for you? This essentially looks, feels, plays exactly like a Final Fantasy Tactics sequel, spin-off, new game.
Don't know, I'm in.
Yeah, multiple classes that you can change your party members' classes throughout, including your main characters. Has 12 different classes. They branch from each other, so there's separate skill trees for everything, over 150 abilities. One of your party members is a raccoon named Poncho, who wears a little poncho.
I'm in.
And stabs people with a knife.
I'm in.
It's about a 20 to 25 hour game, they're saying, and it's they have not announced a price point, but I think it's going to be around $30. That seems like the sweet spot for this type of game. But it is an indie game. It's being developed by a small company, Twin Otter Studios. I think it's only 2 or 3 people on the team, and it's being published by Serenity Forge, who has put some stuff out. They are the publishers for Doki Doki Literature Club, which got some hype, a couple years ago, and also Lisa, which you mentioned earlier today, John. I can't remember if that was before recording or during.
Lisa?
But yeah, I thought you mentioned that. Someone brought that up. I thought it was you.
I think Mateo referenced Lisa on the last episode of the show.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Sorry, but they've published some hits. So yeah, that's my game.
Did that 2 versions of that game just come out? I was looking at the eShop and I saw 2 different versions of Lisa with different subtitles and stuff.
So
I
have
no idea what's going on with this.
It's a trilogy, I think.
All right.
But the one that just got released is like the definitive editions of them. Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah.
All right, Mateo. Let's start with you. How are you feeling about this game?
This game was just added to my wish list right now.
Found it.
Just
Look
from
up the developer,
from the intro, 2 lovers brought together by war, torn between the queen. I'm in. I loved it. Like medieval fantasy tactical nonsense. I'm so in.
Yeah.
Steven, how are you feeling? How are you with like the tactics genre?
Well, I loved Fire Emblem Awakening, but that's pretty much all I've played. I've played a little bit of Three Houses and just got. I get so stuck in just making sure my relationships are at max that I don't progress the story because I get so into the min-max of it. But whenever someone says Final Fantasy Tactics, I doth smell some isometric camera angles.
That's exactly what it is. Right. I'm excited for you to look at this game because that's exactly what it is.
But everyone says so much about Final Fantasy Tactics. I do want to give that a try one day, but like. I want to clear the air. If you have a free camera in an isometric game, then it gets a pass from me because at least I can make it square. But it's not my preferred. But if it hits hard, I'm always going to check it out. Like I checked out the second game from the FTL guys.
Into the Breach.
Into the Breach. I checked that out. It was insanely hard. Like my god, that was so hard.
It's so good.
But so and why FTL still isn't on Switch just does my head in.
It's a crime.
Yeah.
That pitch of Into the Breach where you get like it's so hard. We're gonna tell you exactly what the enemy's doing.
And you're
still gonna die over and over again. Like it's so good. It's such a good loop.
All right. You said the raccoon's name was Poncho,
and he's wearing like a Mexican poncho. Yes.
That's enough for me. That's so good. I genuinely have no idea what this game is, so I'm very curious.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's been a year since I touched that demo, but I believe the demo level you play is where he accidentally gets hit with like a spell by a wizard that allows him to kind of stand up and start talking. It's a little Rocket Raccoonish, I think.
Oh, hell yeah.
But yeah, this game is called Arcadian Atlas, and it comes out July 27th.
You know, that's like a very generic name, but it's pretty badass. That's like a cool name, dude. I really
it
dig that.
sounds like a game that came out in like 1993.
Yeah.
It looks rad. I'm looking at the trailer now. It looks fun as hell. Plus, like, you dropped like the Doki Doki Literature Club reference, and that remains to this day one of my favorite games of
Yeah.
all time.
Well,
That
it's
game
just
is
it's same
bizarre.
publisher. I can't promise that one of the characters is going
Yeah.
to try to break out of the game and murder you halfway through. Or anything. But yeah, no, I'm very excited. I've been on their Discord for the last year since I played their game at PAX, and when they announced it was finally coming out this month, yeah, very excited.
That's so cool. All right, Brian, will you remind us what the name of your game was one more time?
Arcadian Atlas.
And Mateo, yours as well?
Oh man, let's figure out what
It doesn't even know.
Try again.
Okay, what was the name of your game?
What was the game?
Yeah, this game is called Try Again. It is on Steam. I have no idea if it's anywhere else, but you
Alright.
can find it on Steam.
All right, sounds good. And we'll move on to the game.
Welcome back, everybody. It's time for the game segment, and today we are bringing back Great Game, So Lame, in which all of our contestants will get the opportunity to state whether a game is great or lame with just 2 words. Then after everyone has spoken, we'll have 1 minute to fight it out and find out if this game is a great game or so lame. Alright, without further ado, starting with Jonah, we have Alex Kidd.
Oh. Man, I don't remember this game at all. I have played it before. I don't remember it. You know what? We're gonna go with lame, not rememberable, or something like that.
Yeah,
Not memorable.
Yeah, that'd definitely hurt. That
memorable.
hurts. All right, Mateo.
We'll do So Lame Bad Gameplay. This is like from Sega Master System, isn't it?
Yeah, first launched on the Master System. Yeah. All right, and finally, what are we thinking, Brian?
Yeah, I'm also in the so lame camp here. Not much of a debate on this one, but I'll go with Mario knockoff.
Mario knockoff. Okay, let's just call it. If we've got a consensus, we got to move forward. I'm sorry for anyone that did own a Master System, but yeah, Alex Kidd just doesn't hold up. Like in the first level,
Caden's,
there's
like holding his baby, and he's just weeping right now because he can't like represent his favorite game of all time.
But yeah, there's like a Grim Reaper that just chases you and just will instantly kill you. Like in the first level, it's like, what sort of build up is this like of difficulty?
See, if I wanted
right.
wanted a Grim Reaper to come after me and kill me instantly, I'd just go play Vampire Survivors.
There you go. All right, let's go to the next one. All right, Mateo, which one am I going to choose? I'm going to choose, is Death Stranding a great game, or is it so lame?
I gotta say, I'm disappointed you didn't just use all Alex Kidd games to go to the next one. I haven't played this one, but we're gonna go So Lame delivery game.
God damn it, you stole mine.
Damn. Don't like you don't like fetch quests? What's going on? Some RPG player you are.
It's
All
kind of
right,
like
Brian.
the ultimate escort mission game, right?
Yeah. Brian, what are you feeling?
So I also have not played this game, but I've watched quite a bit of it. It's very popular among my co-hosts, so I'll say great game. I'm gonna. Oh man, I want to tie in podcast listenable, because this is another just perfect podcast game.
A bit zen. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, and Jonah.
So lame, like work.
This is true. The ultimate delivery game.
I will say I am
Um,
very good at this game.
I'm very curious. Like, I think I do want to open up the floor just a little bit, just to discuss like why we haven't played this game in particular.
So I do think it's interesting because like the people that like this game, they really, really like this game. So like maybe there's something I'm missing by not even giving it a chance. And I mean, it did create the Stranding game genre.
Okay, so like there are good points about this game. Like the very small amount of combat that you do in this game, it does feel like MGS5, and that's awesome. But like the mass majority of this game, the 98% of this game, I'll say 95% of this game is just taking materials to other places and to locations and unlocking the map. Now, being able to build stuff and that transfers between games, that is a really cool concept. There needs to be more of that, and there needs to be other varied gameplay for this game to be better, in my opinion. Ryan?
Yeah, I think I agree with that. I think this game just hits, like Mateo was saying, it's like a very specific niche for some people, and if it hits for you, it hits hard. It's like if your favorite part of Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom is running across an open field, like you're gonna love Death Stranding. It is like this. It's if you just love the side quests in a big Assassin's Creed game.
If you run, don't you fall over?
True. But yeah, just like that gameplay loop of just, traversal for some people really hits. And I think if I ever sat down and did play it, because I own it, it's upstairs, it's still in the plastic, I probably would really enjoy it. I just have not gotten around to it because it feels like such a big game too, and a big undertaking.
Imagine playing Breath of the Wild, but every time you accidentally slip and fall into like some water or something, you have to calm a baby.
Wait, that's like real life. Oh,
it came out during COVID, didn't it? Like, wasn't this like one of the COVID release games, or was it right before?
It was like right before.
Just before.
Yeah, it was just
So,
before.
like-
And
So
like,
did that aid the enjoyment of the game? Like we were all stuck inside, not being able to go anywhere, and here comes this
Maybe.
game
No,
that's just
it-
go out,
it-
travel wherever, and don't see anyone.
it didn't, because I had to go out and do work, and then I came home and played the game that felt like work. So
Yeah, no, it's interesting. I think it's definitely a very particular game. I liken it to my favorite like revelation was playing Persona 5 in 2017 when I had a 1-year-old baby, and it just on the loading screens it says "take your time." I think if I could have the ability with 2 kids and to be able to do that with Death Stranding, I think I would also really enjoy it. But actually having that possibility in this day and age, just I don't know if I have it.
yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. We haven't had a super acerbic great game so lame yet, so let's see if we can bring out the heat with this next one. Brian, is Arkham Knight a great game, or is it so lame?
oh man.
Very controversial with its addition of the Batmobile.
I'm gonna say great game, and my 2 words will be Batmobile aside.
Jonah.
I'm gonna say so lame. And I'll say 10 minutes.
Damn, that hurts because that's my experience too. Mateo.
Man, it's only great game or so lame, huh? There's no so mid.
No, no, you can't sit on the fence.
Let's go great game.
Okay.
Uh,
Now back it up.
Combo City.
Combo City.
There you go. All right, I'm gonna let you fly off the one, Jonah, because I want to hear this. Let's go. We got a minute. Start shouting.
All right, so I got this game on PlayStation Plus, like, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, and was like, okay, I liked Arkham City and Arkham Asylum. This is cool. I played it for 10 minutes, and I was like, this sucks, and I stopped playing it.
What happens if you get past the Batmobile, Brian?
You get a really good game. This has a very. I feel like this game has a pretty high approval rating. Does it not? Like, am I misremembering? I know that.
I don't know. I only played 10 minutes.
But a massive caveat.
Like, yeah. Like, I googled it, and it says here, Google users, you guys, these are official. 95% like this video game.
Wow.
It's definitely.
I'm rarely in the 5%. I am rarely in the 5%.
Yeah.
It's definitely like the weakest of the three, right? Like
Yeah.
story wise,
like
mechanics wise. The Batmobile sections did take a lot away from it. Oh my god, those tank missions were so frustrating. I have never come closer to throwing my controller in my life as a gamer than playing that game.
This man plays a lot of multiplayer games, by the way.
All right. As the arbiter of it, it really does sit in that middle section that Teo was hoping for. Because, like, I absolutely adore the first two games. But I am also that person that, like, once I've gotten the right combination of any sort of thing, I'm more than happy to move on. Which is why I enjoy, like, Legend of Zelda, because it usually moves on from a formula each time. In some way, it has a new gimmick or whatever, so I don't get bored of just doing the same thing. Whereas, like, a Far Cry game, I played a couple of them, like, sick, and it's still the same thing, so I'm like, I don't need to play Far Cry anymore. But yeah, so that's where I just started playing. I'm like, okay, Batman, sweet, punching the dudes, still feels great, looks amazing. Then you get in that damn Batmobile. Oh.
So I got a quick question. For you guys.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about how mid this game is and how good the first two games are, but we had Arkham Origins and, like, all of the hype and stuff that they had for that game and all the trailers with Deadshot, or not, was it Deadshot? No, it was Deathstroke. It looked awesome. I was like, this game looks so rad. I was just too broke to buy the game at that time, so I never played it. But I don't hear anybody talking about that game.
I think it gets hurt. I think it gets hurt by the fact that it doesn't have
Rocksteady,
Conroy and Hamill.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
I think it's like, is it Troy Baker maybe is like the Joker or something like that?
His Joker's really good. He does a really good Joker.
But it's just like, I don't know, that just having that weight when Arkham Asylum came out and we've got Hamill and Conroy, it was like, damn, this could be something, because like obviously for such a long time there's been such a big stink on licensed games, like ever since, like, you know, pretty much after 007. Like GoldenEye was like one of the last good ones, and then it was like bad for a long time. We finally had something new, and it was like same with Spider-Man 2018. It's like, we're gonna do our own story, and it's just so much better for it, rather than being like, oh, we're Tom Holland, even though they've tried to make the character look a bit more like Tom Holland, although, you know. But
Steven, would you rather play Arkham Knight or the new Suicide Squad game that's coming out?
You say
come out, but that's Arkham Knight tonight, baby. Let's go, Arkham Knight. Oh my god, I am a big DC fan. I love so much of the DC and the universe, and I love to see more stuff expanded. Like, again, with Arkham City, they had more of the rogues gallery, not just the big hitters.
Mm-hmm.
Suicide Squad just look like, talk about that doesn't get a great game vote. There's only the solo. Oh man. All right, let's move on from that. We're sorry to everyone that loves Arkham Knight, and that's the thing. It looks amazing. Like the visuals, I'm like, man, I want to like this game because it looks gorgeous. Like,
this review says, I want Catwoman to crush me with her thighs. So,
hell yeah.
I mean,
calm down.
Who doesn't?
All right. Oh. All right. Oh, they're both classic.
Okay, let's get him.
I'll throw it out to you. Arcade or console? What are we choosing?
Let's do console. Yeah, let's do console.
Okay. So Jonah, Super Mario Kart.
Oh, Super Mario
Great
Kart.
game or so lame? The original Mario Kart.
We'll do great game. And timeless classic.
Wow. See, I'm an absolute hater, so that's big for me. Mateo, great game. So
We're gonna go so lame, and we're gonna say driving controls.
Yep. And let's go, Brian.
Yeah, I'm unfortunately gonna agree with Mateo. Hopefully, my wife doesn't listen to this episode. He goes so
No.
lame.
Wow,
I'm
it's
gonna say
very rare that I'm the one representing the classic
Yeah,
games. Oh,
I
man.
say hitbox issues. I think, but going along with driving, yeah, mechanics. Just they.
I'm
Go ahead.
gonna throw in mine. Donkey Kong Jr. Why? Like why? Like just this, like wearing a wife beater. Like this is weird.
That's more like Donkey Kong Senior.
Oh, Jesus. I do want to hear though. Yeah, sorry. Continue, Brian, and then we'll go to this debate little section. I want to hear what Jonah is fighting for.
Yeah, this is Jonah's correct that this is a classic game, but they've improved on the formula so much in further iterations that this one, if you go back to it now thinking like, oh man, I used to dominate this game when I was a kid, I was so good at Super Mario Kart, you're gonna go back to it and you're gonna be absolute trash if you haven't played it in a while.
All right.
It's real rough.
This isn't a debate about, oh, is Super Mario Kart better than Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Because that's absolutely wrong. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is far better than this game. But if I'm stuck having to play, like having to choose between Super Mario Kart, I don't know, a random Final Fantasy game on the NES or Super NES, and then, I don't know, something else, something random, a different racing game on the SNES, I'm gonna pick Super Mario Kart.
Or I can agree with that, except for the fact that Super Nintendo had so
many good
bangers,
games.
So many
Okay,
good games.
are there good?
So many
are
other
there
games
good?
that would come up in the rotation.
How many
first.
How many good racing games are there on the Super Nintendo? then?
0.
F-Zero? Isn't there an F-Zero?
Yeah, but that sucks too. I think mode 7.
There are no.
I think
good
mode.
racing games.
I think mode 7 absolutely sucks, and like it's only good in Final Fantasy 6. Like that's like where it looks cool. Like but it's so. Like it's like, oh my god, it's amazing. It's scrolling, but it's so flat. It's just flat. It's just like, what?
All right, I'll
going
take
on?
the L on this one. You guys are right. Super Mario Kart sucks ass. What do you want from me?
But okay. Here's what I'll throw back at you because I know you love Assassin's Creed. Would you say Assassin's Creed 1 is a great game or so lame? Let's do that as our last one
Assassin's Creed.
because
1.
that's in the same place as Super Mario Kart. So
Okay.
Mateo, you can.
I
let's close
would
this
go.
out.
I would go so lame, and I just need one word: repetitive.
I wish you had asked Assassin's Creed
Brian?
2.
Yeah, I'm.
Yeah. Well, but I want you to argue it because you've argued for Super Mario Kart. That's what I mean. Like,
I love this franchise. Tried to go, and I started with 3 actually, which a lot of people don't like.
oh wow.
I'll say I started with 3 because it took place
Climbing
in Boston.
trees
and
like
I'm
a G.
Boston guy, yeah. And then I got into Black Flag, which was incredible. But
That's not.
So I
that's
tried to
a
go back
bad
after the
Assassin's Creed
fact.
game.
I tried to go back after the fact though, from 3 and 4, and go play 1 and 2, and it's so much less smooth. Is going to be my 2 words for that.
Less
one,
smooth.
The climbing's a lot rougher in those
So
early games
slow.
than people remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man. God damn it.
It was
You
that
gotta
great
use the
game,
same
Jonah.
argument you used for Super Mario Kart.
I don't think it's an all-time.
Timeless classic.
I don't think it's a time. I don't think this is a timeless classic. I'll say good game, Hidden Blade.
It's fair. That is
The
fair.
Blade is sick, dude. The weapons are so cool.
I would say location would be my like. If I said great game, it would be location. But slow climbing is also the so lame side of it. But yeah, that's like I think that's one of the. I'm gonna jump in on this argument. When you brought up Super Mario Kart about a legacy, I think that's one thing we need to really detach ourselves from, is to realize that obviously games iterate and get better. Assassin's Creed 2, you say that's the template, and that's where we move from.
Yeah, because I mean, look at
Halo...
Revelations and Brotherhood. They are so cool, and they do so many cool things. Like with Revelations, you get the hook blade that allows you to do zip lines, and that allows you to do really cool combos because you're able to hook onto people, throw them over your shoulder, or jump over their shoulder, and do really cool assassinations. And that transitions to these gimmick hidden blades where we move into Assassin's Creed 3. And he's got the hidden blade that can swivel, and you can take it out and use it as a secondary knife alongside his tomahawk or a sword or something. And so it just kind of evolved those games. But I guess...
But that's why I think, like, Super Mario Bros., Halo Combat Evolved, you know, different things like that, where it's like, these are good to great games, but not like... Just because they have the legacy doesn't mean you should have them in your 200 list. Yeah, I think they should be. They should get there. Like, here you have your Hall of Fame list of
the games that paved the way.
The games that paved the way, exactly. So like, so like Street Fighter 1 is a terrible game. Like, but Street Fighter is revered as like the greatest fighting game.
You know, everyone talks about Street Fighter, but nobody ever talks about Street Fighter. You know what I mean?
Now, as fans of this series, are you guys buying the message that Mirage this year is going to be more like those first couple games? Are you excited for that game?
I'm really interested in it. I'm like, I'm on the fence.
My issue is AC1. It felt like I was playing an auto battler. Like you don't feel like you're doing anything. But then AC2, it was just like press L to parry, and it was just like that's an instant win. So like I definitely want the combat to be more involved, but I definitely like a smaller sandbox where we built this amazing city, because like that's I love what Ubisoft did by creating these historic cities. Like that's phenomenal work.
Yeah,
like,
it's so good.
Absolutely.
That cannot be praised enough. But yeah.
So what really like brought me into liking Assassin's Creed 1, I was like between the ages of 15 and 18. This was like my high school years essentially, and I really liked the behind the stories intrigue of the modern day stuff. I thought that was super cool, and that the whole game essentially was just like a simulation that you're going through. And then like I understand the parkour is slow, but when you do get those fast moments where you're trying to get like the like souped up ultimate armor or whatever, and you're jumping through like these caverns, and you got like the Metroid style, like the place is caving in behind you, and you finally get the last key to unlock the chest in your like main villa or whatever, and then you get this badass suit of armor. It's super edgy, but I was 16 and I thought that was the coolest shit in the world. Like that's what Assassin's Creed means to me. And then just like getting all the different swords, and I mean Altair in the first game, he had a crossbow, which I thought was sick.
So did any of you finish Valhalla to the end of the story?
I haven't played any of the RPG ones. I don't think Assassin's Creed should be an RPG, because
fair enough.
It takes the hidden blade and it just makes it a critical hit, not an insta kill, which is the whole point of the hidden blade.
They do feel like completely different games. I will say that much, but they are so good. They are so good.
So Arrested Development meme. There are dozens of us. I'm one of the people who still is interested in the modern day story of these games and tries to follow it. There is a twist at the end of Valhalla that involves this character that we are playing as in Mirage, where I still, and I've asked people this in forums on Facebook, I have no idea if I'm supposed to be rooting for this guy that we're playing as, if he's a protagonist or if he's actually a bad guy. Like, that's how confusing it's gotten for me. Yeah, so I mean, spoiler alert for Valhalla ending, the game that came out 6 years ago, something like that.
That's what it feels like after you've played it.
That's how important of a game it was that you don't even came out.
But this guy that's the main character in Mirage is like an embodiment of Loki. And at the end of Valhalla, he actually traps the woman who you've been playing as in the last few Assassin's Creed games from modern day. Traps her in this like world tree of knowledge and takes her place in the modern day. And it doesn't seem like a good thing. I don't know, but now he's the protagonist of this new game, so I'm very confused about.
Damn it! I wanna see this now. I'm so confused.
Yeah, I am too, and I watched it. So I mean,
you brought up
like she's happy about it.
You brought up Assassin's Creed 4, and I know we're running long on time. You brought up Assassin's Creed 4. Assassin's Creed 4 is of the classic Assassin's Creed, other than like 1, it is the worst Assassin's Creed game. But god damn, is it the best freaking pirate game ever made. It is so good.
Yeah.
It is so fantastic.
Only can I give my biggest gripe? You take it on a massive mega ship and you don't get to keep it. It's like, oh, now you can send it off on your app. It's like, what? Why did I do this? Why did I just it's like, imagine like in Dead Nightmare or Red Dead Redemption DLC, you could get like the 4 horsemen, the 4 horses of the apocalypse, and it's like you get that, and it's like, oh, it can sit in your stables and you can look at it or something.
I will say it's a super annoying fetch quest, but you mentioned in the original game getting the super edgy armor that you love. In Valhalla, there is a very involved quest that involves hunting down these tablets that do not even show up on the minimap. I had to
those
look
are
up a guide
the
to find them all.
worst.
But if you get all 13 of them, you're playing in England. You're playing in England. You can descend into a lake, find a hidden cavern, and you can get Excalibur with
that's pretty dope.
And
you
get
the new
Excalibur out of the
parkour
stone,
Okay.
and then going and slaying a bunch of Englishmen with it. It's pretty satisfying.
There's something so satisfying about like god weapons and stuff like that, and like Ultima Keyblades, all that sort of stuff. Like, I really like how reverent they felt with, I think it was AC2 or whatever, when you would get Altair's gear. It was like locked away, you could see it, but you couldn't like unlock it until you got all the keys. And I think it was the same in AC4 maybe as well. But it's funny because it's like, obviously Ezio's gear looks better than Altair's gear.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know.
Especially in 2 when you could, or Brotherhood, when you can go to the different dye shops and get them like change
the colors changed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so good. Dude. It's so good.
Syndicate had a similar quest where it was like something with gears, but every time you would put a new item into it, it would like rotate slightly, and you had to get a whole bunch of them to fully unlock everything.
I hear that it's the most underrated Assassin's Creed.
I do wish the zipline was
twins,
faster.
Super awesome.
It was a bit slow.
All right. Well, I'm gonna take the reins back from Steven because we got to get moving, and Brian's got to get going. But
child incoming.
That's the end of our show. We'll pass it around for final thoughts. Brian, appreciate having you, dude. What are your final thoughts?
Yeah, no, thanks for having me again. I appreciate it. I think we had a great debate today.
So good.
You know, hence the
one might say
show,
a great game debate. Yes.
And it's one of my favorite podcasts. I really do appreciate you guys having me back. If you want to check out more of my stuff, hopefully we'll have more of it soon. It is Draft Punks is the name of it. We're on all the social medias and Twitch as Real Draft Punks because that's what was available at the time we made our accounts. And like I said, we'll be hitting up PAX with the Great Game Debate this fall, so we'll hopefully have some stuff that comes out of that together. Yeah.
Are you guys gonna be you and Preston gonna be doing that sideshow? Doing some more of that?
We'll see. It's actually just me this year. Preston couldn't fly out from Maryland again like he did last year.
okay.
Plus, he went to East. So,
Okay.
yeah, Preston went to East, so I'm covering West. So we'll see what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Steven.
Don't know what to say other than I've just booted up Monster Sanctuary on my Switch, and it's a really good like in bed game of like
It's
it's
solid.
just gives you a little again, just those little RPG Metroidvania dopamine hits. Good stuff.
Heck yeah. Mateo, what's going on, dude?
Jonah, you sparked something in me. I am issuing a challenge to our community. Someone please debate me for best pirate game because I don't think I can get behind Jonah's assertion of what the best pirate game is.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, an open
Yeah.
call. Someone come and debate me for best pirate
Open
game.
call for best pirate game debate. Okay.
I know what Joey Cisco would say. He's on the Sea of Thieves train.
I
He's
think
been on that
Mateo
for a
might
long
be on
time.
the Sea of Thieves train too.
I've got a few contenders in mind. I've
Okay,
got some that I can
okay.
represent.
Listen, after this episode drops, people are going to be clamoring for Keese Mateo too. So just let me know.
Oh yeah.
All right, now I'll get in housekeeping and stuff. If you would please share the show. I don't need you to necessarily like, dislike, or comment anything, although we would love that. But I do ask that you do share the show and, tell your friends, family, your boss, maybe, if they like games, to check out the show. Also, if you'd like to support us, you can support our show and our Discord community by becoming a Patreon or a patron member on our Patreon, which is The Great Game Debate. And speaking of that, if you are part of the $5 tier, you get an awesome shout out, which now I will shout out Pucho, Wes Bates, and Dan Gleason. Thank you for supporting the
Shout
show
out.
and the community.
Thank
You guys are fantastic.
It's a list of dignified names right there.
Oh yeah,
You can tell.
the most
Yeah.
dignified. I know that sounded
Real
sarcastic, but it wasn't. You guys are much appreciated.
Definitely need to get Pucho on to debate us once he can
Ooh, maybe
organize
was
around
that,
his new kid as well.
Was that the agreement to get Wes out of his contract for this show so he could go do Gaiden? Was he had to sign up for the Patreon?
Yeah, basically.
He's got to pay back the $50,000.
Yeah.
All that embed
It's a
$5
monthly
at a
payment
time.
plan. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a lifetime agreement, so he's just gonna pay us back. And I've been your host, Jonah Gomez, and this has been the Great Game Debate Podcast. Thank you for listening, and as always, happy gaming. Bye.
As always, a big thank you to our friend Misdriven for the music in our podcast. If you like what you hear and you want to check out more of what they have, you can pay them a visit on Twitter at MIST_RIVEN 719 or on Bandcamp at Misdriven. Thanks again for tuning in. Till next time.
Steven, when you are ready, take it away.
Welcome back, everybody. It's another round. No, that sucks. Blah, blah, blah. All right.